Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I am so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me, because today we're doing a reading vlog where I read some books that have one of my favorite tropes in it, because your girl has been struggling to find 5-star reads for 2026. So I decided, why not try out one of my favorite tropes that's bound to give me a 5-star, hopefully, right? Well, we'll see. Hopefully that is the case. So let's hop into this video and see what I get up to while reading some books. Oh, I should tell you the trope, huh? Yeah, so the trope that I'm going to be reading from books from this, what am I trying to say? Let me just start over. I will be reading books that contain the matchmaking / dating app trope. As much as I was against dating apps in real life, I actually happened to meet Lex, my wife, on a dating app randomly one day when I decided to download one to see what the hype was about, because I was bored, funnily enough. So yes, but I also love a good matchmaking service as well. So we're going to combine those two things, read a couple of books with those tropes, and hopefully throughout this video find a 5-star. Now we can get into the books that I read for this video. Okay, so let us talk about Don't Tell Me How It Ends by Adrienne Thurman. So in this, we follow a floundering 20-something who, sworn off romance, finds herself roped into her meddling sister's matchmaking business. Kaya Harper may not have a plan for her life, but she knows what she won't be doing, falling for somebody's dusty son, promising forever. She'd rather spend the summer after college having disappointing one-night stands and watching crime show reruns. At least she won't be caught off guard, since she already knows how all those stories end. But when her very pregnant and newly single sister calls for help, Kaya reroutes, stumbling back home to suburban Connecticut and into the business plan of her sister's new matchmaking company. When Ro Jackson finds Kaya stalled on the side of the road, he isn't put off by her attitude. His steady disposition is Kaya's opposite and makes him exactly what she needs, a friend in town who can handle her just as she is. But as Ro talks Kaya through a summer of failed matches, she finds herself drawn to more than just his poetic outlook and friendship. Kaya hadn't seen this one coming, but as she and Ro grow closer, she'll have to decide what's more important, needing to know the end of every story or jumping into the unknown. Okay, let us talk about this. First of all, Kaya was very unlikable. And friend, she got on my nerves. So put it simply, she got on my nerves. And I read the author's bio at the end of this, and it basically let us know that this was done intentionally and that she mainly writes unlikable characters. And friend, cool. I'm glad that you do that, but being in Kaya's head she was insufferable. Like, I don't have to agree with every decision that the main character makes, but an important thing for me is that I want to be rooting for the main character. I want good things for the main character. And Kaya, yeah. Anyway, I just feel like there were multiple times in this book where Kaya treated Ro, who is our love interest, one of them anyway, because she is going through this matchmaking service and dates several guys, but in particular Ro, because she builds a friendship with him. And throughout this, I felt like Ro deserved more than what Kaya was giving him. And anytime a woman makes me root for a man or be on the man's side or wishes the man or thinks that the man needed more, I'm pissed off. Automatically pissed off. Automatically just, I get the ick. Okay, because don't make me root for a man. Why would you do that? And the way that Kaya treated Ro, it was just unnecessary. Like, they were supposed to be friends, and it wasn't even given friendship. Like, Ro was a way better friend to Kaya than she ever was to him. And Again, ugh, got the ick. And to give a specific but not specific example of this, Kaya would always do things to intentionally hurt the main love interest of this. And I'm not going to tell you who the main person is. If you can't tell already, take the hint or don't. That's up to you. She would do things to intentionally hurt this person or assume the worst of this person when he had done nothing wrong. All he did continuously was to show her support and show her the best side and show her his best side since the night that they met. It's not even like on some grumpy sunshine stuff. It's like, this person, I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me, or I'm not even gonna give you a chance to explain the situation. I'm just gonna assume that you did this to hurt me and not give you a chance to explain or anything like that. It was just very frustrating and very insufferable being in Kaya's head and watching just how she treated people in general. It wasn't cool. I wasn't a fan of how she treated other people. As far as the matchmaking goes, because that's the main reason why I decided to pick this book up, I wish that it played a bigger part or maybe have been done differently altogether. Now, I do know that there is a follow-up to this book. I'm not sure if it's like a direct sequel or what, but the older sister is getting her own book, and I know that we will go more into detail with the matchmaking business in this book because it's her business. But it just didn't give me what I needed to give as far as the matchmaking aspect of this. I do like that it was more old school and it wasn't reliant on an algorithm. Big fan of that part of it, but yeah. The side characters in this even came off as annoying, and it was almost like, okay, you say you write your main characters as unlikable, but baby, the side characters are giving unlikable as well. And I didn't. And the advice that they were giving Kaya, no, that's not good advice. It was not good advice and not something that Kaya should have been listening to. It's like somebody who is in a situation that you don't want to be in trying to offer you advice on your situation. Baby, I don't need your advice. You're not much better off than I am. Just because you're not having the exact situation doesn't mean that you are qualified to give me advice in this lane. And that's what it was given. I read the preview of the next book because it was included in the e-arc that I got from NetGalley. And I don't know. I'm up in the air on if I plan to read it or not. I'll have to wait and see. But seeing as though I wasn't just the biggest fan of the sister in this first book, I'm probably just going to leave well enough alone, because the writing itself wasn't just amazing to me to make me want to try again. I rated this book a 2.5 star. It wasn't horrific. Not for me. Not for me. And I'm going to leave it at that. That's usually what my 2.5 stars mean. I didn't hate it, but it's just not for me. And yeah, but if this sounds interesting to you, I think you should give it a shot. This is by a debut author, a Black author. If you like matchmaking situations, give it a shot if it sounds good. I'm not going to tell you not to. It just wasn't my thing. Moving on. Alrighty, it is time to talk about Love from the Cosmos by Mowa Badmos. And in this one, we are following Moyo, who is a Boston-based pediatrician who's made her parents and Legos proud. Now she's ready for true love. Moyo decides to join a dating app, which is called Cupid's Bow, and it is the popular astrology dating app that uses birth charts to match soulmates with a 99% success rate. And the app seems to work until it doesn't. Moya is matched with this guy, and he ends up in a cheating scandal of some sorts. And so she is really pissed off because, you know, she's paying money for this dating app, and Cupid's bow, it's supposed to be, you know, we're not supposed to be dealing with that on Cupid's bow. And so she sends a message to the app's creators, just telling them how pissed off she is, how this is such a shitty situation, and asking them, you know, what you gonna do about it, because you need to do something about this, because now I done got my heart broken in a situation that I never wanted to be in because of y'all's app. Okay. And so we also have Nii, who is the Saturn, who is named Saturn. Okay. When this is almost like magical realism, me, I'm going to try to explain it to where it kind of makes a piece of sense. These positions of like Saturn, Venus, the planets or whatever, that they're passed down through the family, and they supposedly have these magical abilities that allow them to create these matches and work with the birth charts and all the things to make this stuff happen. So there is like a magical realism element in that way. But Nii is the one who gets this complaint, and he is using science to combat his incompetence, because he has not received his full powers. When his daddy passed him down, he didn't actually want it. He didn't really want to do with the company, but his daddy kind of slick forced him / gave him his powers without him realizing that was happening. And so he hasn't fully come into them to be able to set up these matches. And so it's kind of his fault that Moyo ended up in a bad situation. And so the other, I think it's Venus and Mercury maybe, or Mars, one of the M planets that also are, you know, helping run the company. They decide that Nii will act as Moyo's dating coach, and he will kind of help her get some new matches, help her with the dates to make sure, you know, she's presenting the best possible version of herself, and also trying to kind of smooth everything over. So Moyo won't really take this past, you know, to the public or anything like that. And so along the way, Nii and Moyo kind of like each other, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what happens. Moyo is going out on these dates that Nii is setting up, and the whole time they're thinking about each other, right? And so eventually they decide to give it a shot, and we'll see if they choose each other or she choose one of the new guys that, you know, she is matched up with in the app. And I thought this was cute. I thought I was going to like this more than I did, because the whole purpose of this was to find a trope that I really enjoyed, because this reading year just hasn't really been hitting. I don't have a lot of 5 stars or a lot of favorites, and we're past halfway through the year at this point. And so I really love matchmaking app situations, and this one it felt kind of flat for me. I liked Moyo, liked Nii, liked their relationship, but it was just something, and I don't really even know what it was, because I think it was long enough. It was around 230-ish pages, and I don't think it needed to be longer, because I think it would have been harder for me to finish if it was any longer. But I just wanted, there was some kind of disconnect. I rated this a 3-star. I will recommend this going forward. I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to, and I can't even tell you why. Like, I'm just trying to think. There's nothing bad about this book. You see, I don't have anything bad to say, but there wasn't anything that was overly right about it either. I think maybe the writing style was a little off for me as well, but friends, like I said, if this sounds interesting, pick it up. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I don't know what I thought it was going to be. And I know none of this makes sense, but if you know, you know. So yeah, this was just okay. Just a 3-star. But again, like I said, nothing bad about it. I will still recommend it, and if it sounds good to you, pick it up. All right, so I have finished Love is an Algorithm by Brooke, Robson, and I have thoughts. We got to talk about this one. So in this, we're following E, who wants to make music that's fueled by love, passion, and rage. She trusts her gut and her friends, and in no way wants to rely on technology, let alone AI, to tell her how she feels. Danny is anxious about his dad, his dating life, his coffee order, and the dating app he helped create, which seems to determine to serve him terrible matches. When Eve and Danny start dating, it feels like the solution to all of Danny's worries, except when it doesn't. Is she happy? Should he be doing more or less? This becomes the catalyst for a revolutionary new version of Danny's app that promises to quantify relationship health and potential, helping users understand what's really going on. Problem solved. As Pattern and Bug, the ever so friendly AI assistant, catch fire, users everywhere begin outsourcing major life decisions to Danny's algorithms. But as Danny reckons with his newfound success, Eve, whose career relies on her ability to write emotions into song, grows increasingly skeptical of the app's impact on genuine connection. Their relationship becomes the ultimate modern experiment. How do you fall in love and stay in love in the digital age? Now, I mainly wanted to pick this book up because I knew from the synopsis that it discussed AI to some degree, and I wanted to see what it had to say. As a person who is fully against AI, let me go ahead and let that be known now. This is an anti-AI channel. I needed to know. I was curious. And especially because of the nature of what this AI was being built to do, I wanted to know. So Eve and Danny have grown up with each other because Danny was Eve's older brother's college roommate. So he's been around the family for a while, kind of a brother's best friend type of situation. And our poor sweet Danny is just an anxious baby. He has a very anxious attachment kind of style. So he seems to think that, Eve is the love of his life, and he just wants this relationship to be successful. And so that's where he comes up with the idea of Bug, and it kind of learns. You input a lot of information into this, and it kind of learns each person and kind of tells you how you need to handle a situation based on what the AI knows about you and that other person. And I was like, And me and Eve, I'm sorry, y'all, I have texture issues, and this book is, it's sending me out. Like, it's making my mouth. This cover is awful. Okay, I'm gonna sit her right here because I cannot keep touching that. Oh, I'm about to lose it. Okay, so I don't even know what I was thinking about. And so Eve, who is also a very anti-AI person, is a music artist, and she has had some success, but then has kind of dropped it because she waited 4 years to come out with another album because she doesn't really know what she has to say. She wants it to be authentic. She wants it to be good, but also she ain't really got none of that. So yeah, she also ends up having her own kind of interesting relationship with AI as well, and I'm going to leave it at that as to not spoil anything about this book. But yes, this is more of a literary romance, I would say. While it focuses on the relationship, it does more so focus on Eve and Danny and how they move throughout life, what causes them to be who they are, their family, their trauma, all the things. And I knew from the first chapter that I was in this and that I was going to enjoy this. Laura Brooke Robson's writing style, I was a fan of. It's sarcastic in an anxious way, and it just kind of feels like me. I'm very sarcastic, and I'm also very anxious. It was so relatable. It was funny. I was giggling out loud, actually. And while it did discuss some serious things, I just found myself in this story. I did want to put this down. I loved reading about Eve and Danny. They were very easy characters to root for, and you just want the best for them, but you also could fully understand where they were coming from, where each person was coming from, and what they were dealing with, especially if it's something that is relatable to you as it comes to family drama. Eve had some illness situation growing up. So yeah, I rated this book a 4.5 star. Will this book be for everybody? No. Do I think that I would have rated this a 4.5 star had I picked it up at a different time? Probably not. But I just, you know, when a book just finds you when you need it to find you. And that is exactly what happened. I picked this book up at the perfect time for me. And because of that, she's a 4.5. I also thought that, you know, some of the pop culture references, and this is funny too. It was just like, it kind of felt like a very millennial book, and not in a derogatory meaning of the word, because I am actually a millennial. So like, yeah, but this felt good. It felt good. I didn't exactly get the conversations that I wanted as far as AI. Yes, it was brought up, and you know, Eve was questioning Danny. Like, the arguments were there, but they weren't as flushed out, and it's like as detailed as I maybe wanted them to be. But also, I don't know Laura Brooke Robson's stance on AI. So, I mean, of course, I can't say that I want her to say what I wanted her to say, because I don't know if that's how she actually feels. But the discussions were there, but I kind of did knock off that half star because of that. Got to stand up for something, or you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. The matchmaking part of it, well, the dating app part of it, I thought was really interesting, because Danny created the code for the app. And so seeing as how someone who hasn't really been in a successful so seeing someone who hasn't really been in a successful relationship create code to match people up to have successful relationships, I thought was also interesting. And Danny was also using the app and getting set up himself, and like not having good dates as well. So like seeing how he kind of reckoned with that was very interesting, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I had a really good experience with this book overall. I would recommend it, but no, I don't think it's going to be for everybody. Some people might find it boring. It's kind of more of a character study type of situation, but I don't mind that when the time is right. And like I said, the time was right for this book. So we have success. You know, a 4.5 is just as good as a 5-star to me. And like, yeah, I'm happy that me leaning into my favorite tropes has led me to a book that I really, really enjoyed. Moving on. Okay, so the last book for this video is going to be We Met Like This by Kasie West. And in this one, we are following Margot, who is a hopeless romantic. That's why she wants to be a literary agent to help bring romance books to the world. It's also why she hates dating apps with all her romance-loving soul. She wants her own love story to be just as fun as the books she reads. A mixed-up coffee order, a mistaken identity. She's not going to tell the story that she swiped right on her future husband's shirtless pic for the rest of her life. The problem is that her most consistent relationship over the last several years is with Oliver, a guy she keeps rematching with on the apps. They've only been on one date, and it was a disaster. Well, until the makeout session in the car before parting ways. But she keeps reminding herself a makeout session does not a relationship make. And so there will not be a date 2 regardless of how witty their app banter is. When Margot gets fired from her job on the same day she meets Oliver again, her life becomes a veritable shit show. Her dream career is dying right before her eyes, and Oliver thinks she's interested in only one thing, a repeat of the hot makeout session they had 3 years ago, so she can get him out of her system. And maybe that's all she wants from him, because she and Oliver are not compatible. But in her scramble to keep her dream alive by opening her own agency, Oliver is there with his golden retriever energy, more steady and helpful than any man she's ever dated. Just when she thinks she's overcome her app bias, she realizes that maybe it's not her who's holding back, but him, and his reasons are more than she bargained for. While I was reading this, I thought it was cute, even if Margot was a little annoying when it came to how insistent she was on having this meet cute, and how she wouldn't even look at any guy who wasn't in this meet cute type of situation. Margot's job situation was something that I wasn't a fan of, and I'm not gonna say it because it's not in the synopsis and I don't want to spoil it, but there's also another reason why it's been kind of difficult for her to find a person over the past couple of years, and that situation just felt icky to me. I'm glad that, you know, she was able to get out of it, but some of Margot's decisions did not line up with who or what she was saying that she wanted. Because if you wanted this cute meet cute situation, then some of the decisions that you made you would not have been making. And I'm going to leave it at that. I also thought that the situation with Oliver and the secret that he was hiding was weird, and I don't know that if that is something that I would have been able to look past personally to be with him. But, you know, to each its own. I feel like I also had a major problem. A lot of this was like character issues to me. I think that the plot and the setup of the whole story was cute and it was fine, and I probably would have liked it with different characters. Minus the part about Oliver. I still stand behind that. So Margot's older sister was such a piece of work, to say the least. She treated Margot like she didn't know how to have her own life. She didn't know how to be an adult. She didn't know how to be a person. And if Margot wasn't doing exactly what her older sister thought she should be doing, then, you know, Margot wasn't doing what was right. And because the sister had what everyone seemingly sees as success, a successful job, husband, kids, she seemed like she was put together. Then because Margot did not have those things at the same age and at the same pace that her older sister did, she was treated like she was just flailing through life, didn't really know, you know, what she was doing or how to be an adult or anything like that. And it was frustrating to see Margot doubt herself because she wasn't going down the exact path that her sister thought that she should. And yeah, that really annoyed me. I did not like how she handled any situation. And then when Margot decided to say her piece about it, of course, they made Margot out to be the bad guy, and that just pissed me off, okay? Like, I like family drama in books, but yeah, no, wasn't feeling this family drama. I rated this book a 3.5 star. I thought that Oliver and Margot were really cute, and I honestly was annoyed that it took them so long to get it together, only to find out this big huge thing that, like I said, would have been the end of it for me. But they worked through it, I guess. It was a 3.5 star. It like I said, I think this story would have been way more successful for me with different characters. And the dating app part of it was interesting to me because it wasn't really like a huge thing, but it was the way that Margot and Oliver it was where they met originally, and then the way they kind of kept in touch with each other over the years. They just kind of kept matching every time they decided to come back to the apps after an unsuccessful relationship. But other than that, it seemed like the apps didn't really play a big part of the story, which is mainly why I went into it anyway. But then also Margot would get upset about something, or, you know, maybe her sister would say something she didn't like or made her feel bad about herself. And that's when Margot would turn to the apps, and she was like, she's going to swipe on everybody and, you know, it felt like it wasn't something that she wanted to do, but more like a means to an end to just, I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't feel like I am. But she wasn't on the apps because she wanted to be. She felt like she didn't have any other choice. And it kind of felt like just doing this because it's what's going to solve my problem the quickest. And I didn't really enjoy that. And also, it felt kind of sad. Like, sis is not having a good time here. And like, yeah. I also felt like the writing was a little dry. This is Kasie West's first adult book. She usually writes YA, and I don't know if that's what it was. She was just, you know, had some kinks to work out coming from YA to adult. But I just, yeah, I liked it, but I don't know if I liked it enough to want to try anything else by her. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this book. Did I say anything? I don't know. But those are my thoughts. So let us wrap up everything that we have read in this video, where I decided to read one of my favorite tropes, which was matchmaking services and dating apps. So the first book we read was Don't Tell Me How It Ends, and that was a 2-star. Love from the Cosmos was a 3-star. Love is an Algorithm is a 4.5 star, the most successful of this vlog. And then We Met Like This ended us out on a 3.5 star. So did I accomplish what I set out to with this vlog? Kinda, but not really. I did get a 4.5 star, and I really enjoyed Love is an Algorithm, but everything else is just kind of mid, or like not something that I was a fan of. So I don't know what's going on this year, but your girl is struggling. And I'm just sad that I don't have as many 5 stars as I feel like I should, you know? And I'm picking up books that I think I'm going to love. So maybe I don't know my own reading taste anymore. Maybe it has changed and I just haven't realized it. I don't know, friends. Oops. I don't know, friends, but I think we will try this again with a different trope and see if we can get some see if we can get some success in a 5-star, because I'm running out of ideas, friends. I don't know what to do. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Anything that you do to support me and my channel, friend, I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have the best day that you possibly can. Remember to take care of yourself, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.